Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Hi, welcome to Rick's Corner. It's 108 degrees out here today. Pretty hot. Now we're on the West Coast, so we don't have the humidity that you have on the East Coast, but it's still hot no matter how you look at it. So I'm in my house, in my studio, and it's air conditioned. I thought, well, it's a good time to talk about something. As some of you know, I had an injury for the past 7 weeks. I was talking about last year I had a knee replacement. I did really well and I had a staph infection. Then this past 7 weeks, I had something happen to my calf muscle, which swelled up like really big and turned red and full of fluid. Foot was full of fluid and the knee was full of fluid. And several doctors said it was cellulitis, and then some said no, it's not. It's venous stasis, which is basically narrowing the blood vessels in the bottom of the leg, which could have come from the last staph infection. It also could have come from doing hack squats and kicking the ball for Ozzy. No, we're not quite sure where it came from, but all I know is it swelled up. And it took a long time to get down to normal. I was with the cane a lot. And then I did the diuretics, which took a lot of the water out of my leg. And then I developed a skin ulcer on the side from having it swollen, which I believe it's a bacterial infection. So I did some treatments with a guy named Chris Shelton, who does Chinese medicine. He came over and put his table out and he did the acupressure points on me and the cups, got rid of the toxins in my system, opened up channels down to my leg, which was extremely painful. And I've never known this stuff to be before. I didn't know if it worked or it didn't, but I will say 24 hours later, my calf went from this size down to this size, and I had a big bruise on the back the size of a baseball, went down to the size of a golf ball. This is in 24 hours. So then he came back 2 days later, did it again, and then the following Monday and did it again. Now my leg is down pretty much to normal. I still have a little pain on the side of the tendon. I'm still limping a little bit because it is still kind of stiff, but I can do legs again very, very lightly. And whatever he did, it definitely worked for me. I have a show on him, and a lot of you guys say, oh no, I don't believe that stuff. Well, I never knew to believe it or not, but I just know it worked for me. So I am a believer that maybe it does work. Between that and the medicine the doctor gave me, the diuretics and some Keflex for infection, the sore on the side was gone. So I just want to give you an update on that. My feeling is you can get through anything if you want to. You don't have to sit home and dwell on it. You don't have to feel sorry for yourself. You don't have to say, oh my God, it hurts, I can't walk. I went everywhere. And I did what I needed to do. I had to go to the skin doctor. I had to walk 2 blocks. Now 2 blocks doesn't sound like a lot in Beverly Hills, but those blocks were long ass blocks. And by the time I got to the building on the 8th floor, I was pretty well beat down. Funny thing was I got to park on the corner of one street with a handicap. By the time I got to the building, there were 2 vacant spots in front. I said, oh, why didn't I just drive over here? I could have parked in front. In the meantime, everything's going well and I'm happy. So I talk to people in the gym a lot and I observe a lot, and all ages. They're all friends of mine, anywhere from 20 years old to 70 years old. And we observe things, and we saw somebody in the gym today doing deadlifts, and they were going extremely heavy, some skinny young guy, and he's banging the weight down on the floor and banging the weight down on the floor, just dropping it. And it got very annoying to a lot of people in the gym, including myself. If you were to go back in days of Joe Gold or Vince Gironda, that was not allowed. You could not drop weights like that. They'd kick you out of the gym. You just don't have to do it. So what I wanted to say was, it's also not necessary to go that heavy. You don't need 3 or 4 plates on each side of the bar, and you're struggling to lift it up. You're really straining yourself, and I've seen so many back injuries from people who do that in the L4 and L5 and the lower spine, and they get up and they can't move and they can hardly walk out of the gym. It's not worth it for the results you're going to get out of that heavy weight. Deadlifts are good for powerlifting, squat, deadlift, bench press, and of course they have their value when you're trying to increase records for an event. But for everyday workouts, you don't need to go that heavy. I can do the same thing with a 135-pound bar and get the same feeling out of it, get the same results, and have better movement than if I had all that weight on there. So if you're going to do deadlifts, go light. You don't have to go heavy. You get the same feeling out of it. It's the same thing with shrugs. I see people loading up this bar and doing these real heavy shrugs. They move about 2 inches like this. They're not even working the traps. I've got my best trap development out using 30-pound dumbbells. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of weight, But if you get way up and way down with that 30-pound dumbbell for about 20 reps, you're going to feel it. So if you want results, you don't have to go that heavy with that type of weight. It's the same thing on the leg press. You'll see people load a leg press. I saw one guy put 10 plates on each side. He had a guy standing on top of the leg press, and he didn't even break his knees to come down. He went down an inch and pushed back up, an inch and pushed back up. What is the point? I was talking to this guy today. He says, I just throw 245s on. I do 20 reps and I get the same thing. I said, I did the same thing with 50 reps, and it worked just as fine as all those plates. And then you don't have to unload all that weight. So these are some kind of points I want to bring across to you, because I think it's kind of important. You know, you want to be safe and you want to get the same results without having to hurt yourself lifting all that heavy poundage. Then every once in a while you'll see somebody use chalk in the gym. Well, chalk, all the way back to Joe Gold and Vince Gironda, they did not want chalk in the gym. It makes a mess on the floor. There's white powder everywhere and nobody cleans it up, and it's really disgusting. You don't need chalk today. Today you have grips, you have the power straps, you have all those things you can use to lift a bar, and it's much better than using chalk because it's safer and it hooks around your hand. You can pull that bar up and you're good to go. So I wanted to make those points. It's not really necessary. And the other thing that people were discussing today is put your dumbbells back and your weights back where you find them. Now at Gold's North Hollywood, they're pretty good about that. You'll find them back in the rack, although every once in a while on the corner you'll find 3 or 4 sets of dumbbells laying over there that some trainer used for his client, and he never puts them away. Well, that's kind of rude. Put it away, you know, so somebody else can use it as well, because you go searching for it and you can't find it. These are things that, like I say, Joe Gold and Vince Gironda would not stomach in the gym. They'd kick you out for anything like that. Now, Vince trained a lot of champions, a lot of stars. Joe Gold wasn't really a trainer, but Vince had Clint Eastwood, a lot of people out of Universal Studios. He's right down the street. There's a book out called Vince's Secret Locker by Carl Coyne. Now, he sent me 2 of these books. They're 600 pages, and they're full of pictures and articles and all the programs that Vince had used for all of his celebrities and all of his champion bodybuilders, such as Don Haworth and Larry Scott. I told him I would mention this book because he's got a lot of copies, and it's a very heavy book, but I like it. It's a good coffee table piece. There's a lot to read in there. There's a lot to look at. I like photos, so I like books with photos. And you can get it at vincessecretlocker.com. I think it's worth it for you guys to look at it. Go on the website. This man put a lot of work into publishing this book and writing this book. He's got several volumes in different, maybe 3 or 4 different ones. But check it out. I think it's well worth your time to check it out. People ask me, I get a lot of people coming up to me to watch the show in restaurants, in shopping malls, at car washes, places so random that, hey, I watch your show. I thought, well, this is really a nice feeling to know that people around the world are really doing what they want to do, and they watch what I say. So they ask me questions about, well, what did you guys do for cardio? Now, we've talked about this before, and I told them there was no cardio in the gym. We didn't have treadmills and bicycles, and I've told you guys all this. You all know this. We'd take a run under the pier, but not on a steady basis. And then they said, how come I don't see water bottles or cell phones? I said, well, there were no cell phones back then. There were no video cameras, and there were no water bottles. There was one water fountain over there, and that was it. The one water fountain that everybody used, and that was the only choice of water. So unfortunately, that's back then. Today it's a different world, and everybody has their water, and everybody's on their cell phones, and everybody has their headsets on, which we didn't have back then. And it's a different world. I understand. I'm okay with it, but I don't see the concentration in the workout when you have all this stuff around you. You need to put the phone down in between sets and just do your sets. So I just wanted to bring this point up. I think it's a good point if you want to make progress. I'm not being crotchety or senile or judgmental, because I hear this from all ages. I hear from a lot of young guys in the gym how they don't like what they see with pounding the weights down and lifting the heavy weights and dropping the dumbbells and not putting them back and using the chalk, and it's just how it is. So I just want to give you guys that little bit of information. I thought it was kind of interesting. I hope that you're in a nice cool area if it's hot outside. I'm back in the gym again tomorrow, and I'm training every day, and I'm getting back in good health, which at least once a year something happens. I hate to say that, but I always seem to overcome it, and I think it's from a positive attitude and moving forward. So I hope I can make you feel the same way and inspire you to move forward in your workouts, make progress, eat right, train hard, don't train heavy, train medium, but train consistently, and make every rep count like every breath that you take. And I'll be back on Rick's Corner next time, and we'll see you then. And thank you for being a good viewer. I really appreciate it. See you next time. Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin, personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world, and I'm the guy that drew it, and I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal, and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interest as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.